watching Superskum.com, and I'm Carlos Reali. I'm here with Anathema's own Danny. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. Let us bug you with a few of our questions as usual. Glad that you'll be able to join in this conversation. Been looking to this interview for a very long time. I want to start from the very beginning, and I want to go back to the band's name. I've always been very curious about that. It comes, of course, from the word anathema. Has several meanings. It could be disdain, banishment, exile from the church. Basically, what was the idea behind the name? Which one of these definitions best suits the inspiration for pretty much getting this name for the band back then, 92, I believe, when you changed it?
It's difficult to equate what we do now with what we did then. It was 20 years ago. And the music was almost entirely different. So it's almost impossible for me to equate that name and that music with what we are now. The melodies, I stand by them. I stand by the lyrics and the melodies of those times. And that's why we made the record Falling Deeper, in order to prove that even in the early days, the melody and the melodic structure and the harmonic structure was always there and always high quality. It was always good. So the reason we did Falling Deeper was for that. But as for equating what the band name means, it's transcended all of those meanings now. And really now it just means the band. Yeah. You know, it's like, what does Pink Floyd mean? It doesn't mean anything. It just means that band, you know. And so anathema or anathema, as you say, it just means our music, you know, and it's just become a brand. You know, to us, what the music is, it comes first, and what it's called is kind of secondary to us, you know.
Oh, and please instruct me if I'm mispronouncing it. It's anathema. Is it the British pronunciation, or is it the correct
pronunciation? Yeah.
And then, have you heard both? Are you used to that? Which one would the band prefer?
I would prefer the next question, because I don't even like the band name.
Well, but one more thing about the band name, real quick. You changed it from Pagan Angel in 1990. But it's okay. We're not going to.
This rate is going to take 45 minutes to get to the Judgment album.
You, as you said, from the beginnings, you went from death doom. You went all the way roots into gothic metal.
We invented death doom.
There you go.
We didn't play death doom. We invented it with Paradise Lost.
There you go.
Then we did something else.
And then you explore a few of the gothic roots, and then, of course, now you have incorporated more atmospheric sounds into the band. Becoming, and not necessarily about labels, but just if people want to put you within a label, more progressive rock, if you will. Now, the point is, what is left for Anathema to explore musically?
Lots. There's loads of things, loads of avenues we haven't been in. For me, the boundaries are in the heart and mind, and to me, now what I've learned is it's about being fearless and being prepared to lose people, but to follow your intuition, follow your instinct, follow your path that you wish to go in with the people that you write with. In my case, that's Vincent and John Douglas. But for us to be brave and fearless in that approach, and don't be scared to take risks, and to make the music for ourselves, you know, with the producer, and do a record that we're really happy with, and then whatever the reaction will be is what the reaction will be. But never to make music to gain a reaction, and never make music to please people or to give them what they want, but to follow the heart. And that's an internal boundary to cross. You know, every time you make a record, it's like, just be true to it, be true to the music, be true, and try to explore new sounds. And there'll be more of that coming in the new records, you know, more of like new sounds, a little bit of electronica coming in here and there, you know, and piano. I'm writing a lot of piano songs, not ballads, just the pianos.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The pianos coming
is
up
that
a lot.
The new progression inside for the band,
for me,
if you will? Or
pianos come up more than guitar.
Okay.
As a writing tool, and I suppose for John and Vincent, the computer would be more their tool.
Okay.
So it's a combination of all of those elements, really. The piano, the orchestral, the heavy rock guitar, you know, and the electronica, and it's a combination of with the vocals, and, you know.
So that's, you know, of course, it's a very respectable mentality, and you're fulfilling, I guess, your own musicianship needs, if you will, to evolve in certain ways, and these are the elements that fans can look forward to. And like you said, you may gain, you may lose fans, but you're going to be true to yourselves and what you want to
We're
explore.
going to try, definitely.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because there is a danger, when you get some success, of trying to emulate the success. People love you for doing that certain thing, so you do more of it, and that is a danger. And I'm careful of not doing that. I want to make great music, and I want to make music that speaks to people. Of course I do. I want to reach to the heart and make undeniable songs that move you and lift you up, or do whatever they do. But I don't want to do it. I don't want to write music to a formula.
Moving along with this progression for the band, you're currently celebrating the latest release, which is your second live album for the band's discography. And it's interesting because it's, first of all, you have two versions. One that came out June, that's actually untouchable, and then you have Universal that came out actually last week, I believe September 17th. And the first one being a vinyl-only release, 2 LP. The second one being Blu-ray, DVD, audio CD with an alternate track arrangement, if you will.
And another show is on there too. There's also footage from the acoustic show at London's Union Chapel.
Okay, and we'll get to that one for sure. This live album was recorded at the the Philippopolis Roman Theater in Bulgaria, specifically the city of Plovdiv. And if I'm sorry to Bulgarian people if I'm mispronouncing it.
Plovdiv's good, yeah, Plovdiv.
Along with the Plovdiv Philharmonic Orchestra. So how was that specific experience, first for you as a musician, and then for the band, if you can extrapolate that way?
Well, the experience was wonderful. Everybody was so nervous because we'd worked so hard that I made a conscious choice to enjoy it and take time out during the show to enjoy it. And in track 2, I got that opportunity because in Untouchable Part 2, I'm not playing a great deal in the first half. The piano and the strings are doing all the work, and the vocalists. And I got a moment to breathe and just take it in. And I just looked around, and I felt like I was buoyant, like floating along this music on a sea, of music and sound and energy and, a creative moment where things could go wrong, but you're just, you're hoping that they won't. And actually everything worked out great. So that was lovely. And I mean, we worked so hard for it. Everybody did. The planning was huge. The stage production was a big one. The filming production was a big one, and the rehearsals for the band took a long time. And it was, everybody was keyed into getting that right.
And how was that energy? Because I mean, this is a 4,000-year-old theater that's there, and you're playing a rock concert with an orchestra. Yeah. I mean, how is that energy, that moment, that rush?
Marvelous. There was
such a unique instance.
Yeah, there was a number of synchronicities. For example, at the end of the song "Flying," which was the end of the first part of the show, I think, I make this loop with a guitar that cycles and it floats away, and we have the audience singing with us, and all the music floats off. And as that happened, completely unrelated to us, a firework display started next to the theatre, and it all kicked off at that moment. Like, it could have happened 5 minutes before when everything was loud and you wouldn't have heard it. Why did it have to happen at that second? And that was nice, so it made me feel that things were falling into place, that there was synchronicities happening and things worked out. And certainly at the end of the show, when that happened on Flying, it was like, okay, this has really gone to plan.
And there is a very good friend of the band that toured with you in 2004. He played cello in that tour. Dave. Was Dave there for that show?
No, Dave wasn't on that. Dave has retired his cello now.
No way.
Yeah,
okay.
He's
so he's no longer a member of the Royal Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra.
No, he was, yeah. Great player, great guy.
Absolutely.
But no, he wasn't on that one.
Well,
but we have fond memories of working with Dave.
You were talking about the acoustic shows, and that happened this past summer. You did 3, right? You did 1 in Holland, 1 in Poland,
He's
in
done
Germany.
his research.
I like to do that. Hopefully, sometimes I get it wrong. Please correct me.
So far, it's all good.
Holland, Poland, and Germany, 3 acoustic shows. For those 2 shows, you actually had, and we're gonna go with American pronunciation, Antimatter, opening for you. Many people probably Antimatter call it that way, and it's a unique kind of situation over there because Antimatter, of course, also being from Liverpool, you guys are very good friends. How was that experience? I mean, when you played that acoustic show, Does the inspiration come from the Hindsight album? Did you do the same arrangement, different ones? How was it?
Well, I've been playing acoustic shows for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And what I started doing was I got one of those loop pedals made by Line 6, and I create loops and then add a little percussion on the guitar. Okay. And then later I bought an octave pedal so I can add bass lines. So it started to sound very full, you know, with the loops, and it's just a reinterpretation of the songs in that way. And our acoustic shows have quite a lot of energy to them. We stand up, we get the audience singing, you know, there's a lot of energy to it, so that's how it goes. Hindsight was a little different than that, and you know, what you'll see on the Union Chapel version of you know, on the Blu-ray special edition is you'll see these loops, and you'll see what I mean when, you know, the show has quite a lot of like animal to it, even though it's an acoustic show.
Well, yeah, it can be very, very passionate, even if it's acoustic.
Yeah,
why
it can
not?
be pretty loud too.
Absolutely,
you know?
yeah.
And playing with Antimatter was a pleasure because I'm quite a big fan of Mick Moss, his voice. I love his voice. He's got a great, warm voice. And obviously Duncan Patterson formed Antimatter after he left Anathema, so there is quite some shared history there. So
was Duncan present at any of the shows?
No, Duncan's not working with Anathema, with Antimatter anymore.
He has his own...
But I talk to him all the time in Liverpool. And
that's good.
We're still friends and all.
That's good that the two bands were able to share the stage.
Yeah, it was nice. You know, and I also play with Anneke van Giersbergen from The Gathering, and that's a great pleasure. A lot of the South American fans will know her. Has been very famous over there, and she's just about the most naturally gifted singer I've ever known. She's so good.
She is very unique.
And a very good friend.
Now, progressing into Weather Systems, the last studio album, released last year. Now you're, of course, celebrating this live release as well. But anything in the works for the 10th studio album? Can you talk a little bit about that? And writing mode, what is going on?
We're going to record in December, starting in December with our producer in Norway, Krista, who is really like part of the band in the studio. He's very important to what we do. He's like our guy, in as much as the Beatles had George Martin and Radiohead have Nigel Godrich. Well, we've got Krista, and that's how it feels. So I'm looking forward very much to working with him. December, January is when
Is it going to be fully recorded in Norway? Is it going to be in Oslo?
Yeah, in Oslo, yeah.
Because the last one was in 3 different places, including Oslo, of course.
All in Norway.
Okay, good.
2005, we played a concert in Bergen, which is on the fjords, which is this amazing coastline, which is one of the longest coastlines in the world, if not the longest. It's just it's all carved by glaciers, and it really is so incredibly beautiful. And when the sun shines there in a late summer day, nature is really smiling. It's unbelievably beautiful. And I was discovering the music of Sigur Rós at that time, and I was going through a healing path myself, you know, so these things came together. It's a good country, you know, it's a clean country, and what I like about their system is that when they discovered oil in the North Sea, everybody benefited. You know, they're pretty fair like that. They've always been a little socialist in a way, which wouldn't go down so well in other places, but it's worked for them because when wealth was discovered in the 20th century, they distributed it fairly and everybody benefited, and as a result there is actually no real poverty in that country at all. And it's a beautiful place, and I like the people, and our colleagues, Krista, the producer, and Petter Carlson, our amazing songwriting friend who introduced us to Petter, they're very close musical buddies to us, very close people to us, so it'll be very nice to make a record in that environment with Krista again, and you know, just to feel the warmth of those people, and I'm looking forward to it.
Do you have any other collaborations that you're working on right now that in the future?
A couple, yeah. There's a project I do with a friend of mine from Liverpool called Leaf Blade. Okay. And this is a gentleman we've known for a long time who's a poet and acoustic guitar writer who also writes rock songs.
So it's a Celtic band?
Yeah, it's kind of Celtic. It's a conglomeration of so many influences. Bottom line for me is that he's just a great writer. Fantastic poet, very articulate, intelligent guy, but his melodies are great, his chord progressions are great, and so what I like to do is to kind of hand pick his very best songs and make records. So I'm going to do at least one one more with him, and we made a record that came out this year called The Kiss of Spirit and Flesh. Came out on Casecoat Music in England and across Europe, and it did well. It did well. I'm always in contact with Annika about possibilities there. But really my main focus is with the band Anathema. That's where most of my energy has to go.
Now with Mariangela, did you end up...
Murtas, yeah.
Are you still working with her in anything?
We wrote together. We wrote a few songs together.
2010, I believe.
Yeah, it was great. 2011.
Okay, 2011.
Yeah, and great friend, fantastic singer. One of the 3 great singers I've worked with, female singers.
Yeah, she's
Annika
amazing.
And Lee Douglas and Mariangela are all 3 of them head and shoulders above anybody else that I've met.
A very good luxury that you've had.
Yeah, they're all fantastic in different ways. So, I just wish her all the very, very best. I'm kind of very busy, but I did write the songs with her, and she has, the rights to take them and use them, and we'll get together as and when we can. But it's just a good friendship. She was introduced to me by Steve Wilson, who's also a friend and colleague of Mariangela, and it's just a good person to know, good energy, honest, fantastic singer, passionate, You
doing any other solo tour, any other solo performances? Nothing like that right now?
I did a collaboration with an American chap called Joe Garazzi, who spoke on the End of Weather Systems, the song Internal Landscapes, and we made a spoken word record about based on his poetry, his experiences, because it worked so well on the song Internal Landscapes, it made sense to then take that forward. And that's released on the Burning Shed label, and there's a chance we could take that further. And I may make a solo record, but to be honest, I just like working with the guys in the band because they make the music better anyway. So I'm not too interested in solo records at this point in time, but the opportunity might come.
How is that family chemistry, worked into the band? What pros, cons?
It's great. It's great for the most part. It works for us. It doesn't work for everybody, but it works for us. I mean, if I take, for example...
That's why, because sometimes it's very hard, very difficult to deal with.
Well, if I take my brother Vincent as an example, to be honest, and I don't want to come across too sentimental, but honestly, I don't know really where I'd be without him.
Oh, absolutely.
And we had our difficult years about the time of Judgment and a Find A to Exit, where there's a lot of falling out, but really in the last 10 years since things came together, it's been pretty smooth. And the fact is, when somebody knows you as well as that, you can talk on a different level to normal friends, and with me being, how can I put that, my life hasn't been exactly easy, and to have Vinny there is amazing because he's like a confidant, and if I ever need somebody to advise me on 1 or 2 personal things, he's fantastic for that because he's a level-headed guy, and also he's known me since the very beginning, so he knows things that other people that would miss. It's
a special click, if you will.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
You cannot replicate in any other way.
No, that relationship is very good. We do talk, we're kind of communicators about feelings, not every day, but we do it. But musically, the reason it works is because he's a good singer and a good producer. That's the bottom line. It's not because he's my brother, it's because he's really good. And it's the same with Lee Douglas and John. It works with those two, not because they're brother and sister, but because John's a great songwriter and Lee Douglas is a great singer. And that's the reason, ultimately, that it works. The music has to come first.
So it's kind of like the artistic chemistry. It's spread out, if you will, in a very balanced way. In a very useful, productive, positive way as well.
Well, I mean, it's all very well being in family and loving each other, but if the music isn't there, the music isn't there. Unfortunately, with these guys, it is,
From here, you finish the U.S.-Canadian tour, you go to Mexico, and then you have 3 dates in South America. You do Chile, Argentina, and Brazil. Any touring plans after that before you get into the studio?
Yeah, a brief acoustic tour of Europe. And then it's
more than 3 shows, or just
quite a few shows, and
good.
that'll be the last ones for the year. And then we're doing a writing session with John Douglas and me and Vincent in Oslo with Krista.
Absolutely.
And then in December we'll go back to Oslo and make the record.
Perfect. Hey, I wish you, your family, everybody else in the band the best. Good luck with the new album.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing so many different details for us. We really appreciate it.
It's an honor. Thank you
so much, Annie.